Stop making these mistakes right now or you'll ruin your videos. Today we are going to look at 10 mistakes that people starting out as videographers often make. And that I've made too when I began my career in filmmaking and content creation. Let's start with the video. For those who don't know me, my name is Stefano and I am a videographer, photographer and content creator from the Italian Alps. And on this channel I want to share with you not only what is my full-time job, but also my biggest passion, videography and photography. If you don't want to miss any other content that I will upload on this channel, be sure to subscribe and to activate the notification button. Now let's start with the video. The first mistake that almost every beginner makes is the mismanagement of the files. Often, when a shoot is finished, the first thing that we will do with the files is to backup them on the PC and then format the card and then delete it from the card. However, it is a good habit to save our files in at least 2 or 3 devices. One of them should be online via cloud and not physical.
In Italy, we are used to say, don't put all your eggs in the same basket.
Now, I know that cloud storage is expensive, but what will you do if your hard drive or your SSD breaks? If you have your file, a backup of your file on a cloud, your job, your project will not be lost. Then, when you are 100% sure that you have done correctly the backup of your files, you can delete them directly from the camera, because if you do that, your SD will be ready to be used on your reflex or on your mirrorless. The second mistake that the very beginner often make is to leave your settings, the settings of your camera, in automatic mode. And yes, I demonized automatic mode. You need to know what you are doing. You need to know how your camera works, how the shutter speed, the ISO, the diaphragm, the aperture works. Because you need to know, you need to understand how the clips you are going to make will turn out. You need to know those things, because if you shoot randomly, if you shoot in automatic mode, coloring your footage will be a disaster, but your footage in general will be a disaster. Speaking about color, another big mistake is shooting without knowing which is the color profile you are shooting in. You have to choose the color profile you will use based on how your clips, your footage will be processed. There is no point on shooting in log if you don't know how to edit it. Every now and then you see online, especially on Instagram, some videos that have some footage that is basically gray, because no one of the person that edited those videos knows how to convert log. So don't shoot in log if you or the editor doesn't know how to work with that color profile. I suggest you to learn how to use log profiles in post-production. However, I think we should not be afraid to record in Rec 709. A good clip, a correct clip shot in Rec 709 will always be more pleasing than a poorly exposed or bad colored log image. I always say that video are like cookings. You need good material to work, you need good ingredients to work. You can be the best chef in the world, but if you use bad ingredients, the result will always be bad, will almost always be bad. The first serious project that I have ever made was a small documentary that I shot for school, so a school project abroad. And this video was entirely based on an interview. We decided to shoot it with a APS-C reflex, so with a crop sensor reflex, using a 50mm f1.8 lens and a shotgun, like this one. the subject was far away from the camera and then from the microphone, and in the clip you couldn't hear almost everything, almost anything, but we realized it only once we were back home. So the audio was a disaster. Nowadays, with tools like, for example, Adobe Podcast or the voice isolation in DaVinci Resolve, you can get a decent result even with a not extremely good audio. However, the correct audio management is fundamental if you're shooting an interview, a podcast, of course, or every kind of video that has audio. A bad video with a good audio is still watchable, you can still enjoy it. However, a good video with a terrible audio will not work. People will not pay attention to a good video with a bad audio. Let me know in the comment section below if you are interested in more video about the audio topic. You probably have noticed that your camera can record up to 24, 25 or 30 FPS. And a very common mistake that I see here in Italy, where the video output should be 25 FPS in PAL format, is to shoot at 30 FPS, thinking to slow it down at 25 FPS, thinking to ralent it at 25 FPS. No, 25 and 20 FPS are two different video formats. The PAL format, 25 FPS, that is used in European television, and the NTSC format that is used in the United States of America. Let me know in the comment section below in which format you shoot, in which format should you shoot in your country if you are not from Europe or the US. If you're shooting for social media like Instagram, Facebook or YouTube, I still suggest you to shoot in NTSC format, because platforms work in this way even if you are looking to reach an European audience. The mistake is to not pay attention on the right frame rate you have to use according to the output that your video will have. And if you want to slow it down, shoot at 50 or 60 FPS. There is also the possibility to shoot at 24 FPS, but that format is for movies and cinema, definitely not for web or television. Another big mistake that beginner usually makes is to not pay attention to the correct bitrate that your file should have. I know that high quality files are heavy, but trust me, don't skimp when shooting, because the quality of the final result will be defined also by the quality of the file that you are shooting with. Believe me, the people that are going to edit your clips will thank you later. Of course, if you are shooting on a computer from the 90s, your file should be very compressed. However, if you are using a modern computer, a modern PC with modern hardware, I suggest you to learn how to choose the right bitrate for your medias, because it's all about the quality of the clips and, by consequence, the quality of the final video. The word photography comes from the ancient Greek, merging the words phos, that means light, and graphe, that means drawing, writing. This should give you an idea of how important is lighting for your photos and your videos. Learn which is the right time to get out there and shooting videos, or if you want to do indoor shooting, learn how to create a set with the correct lighting. A great camera is useless if you don't know how to set up the lighting correctly. In fact, a mid-range camera shooting on a well-lit set will always give a better result than a very expensive and high-quality camera shooting on a poorly lit set. Another mistake that I suggest you to avoid is to don't learn composition. In fact, I want to give you a suggestion. Learn how to compose. There is a reason why I always say that good videographers must be good photographers, because composition rules for your frames are fundamental. Learn about, in fact, composition, perspective, choose a specific aesthetic to give to your shots, and choose the right lens based on the distortion, the bokeh, the effect that this lens will give to your clips. Don't leave anything to chance. When you are recording a video, organizing a set, or choosing the movements to do while you are shooting, be sure to think about post-production. Don't forget that there is post-production to do to your videos. If you are not the guy who is going to edit the videos, be sure to contact him, call him, and ask him about how he wants the files to be, so that you can get the best from both the world, shooting and editing, and the results will be definitely better. The last point, the last mistake is to don't clean your equipment. The first thing that I always do before shooting is to clean the glass of my lens, but keep your equipment clean, both if it is a camera, a lens, lights, every piece of gear that you own, that you use if you rent some, be sure to keep it clean. It will last a lot longer. That's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it and I hope that it has been useful to you. If so, be sure to hit the like button and to let me know if you know another mistakes or if you have done in your life those mistakes in the comment section below. See you in the next video. Ciao!